If newspapers are dead,
Tom
I'm
Clark.
not sure that means journalism is dead.
No.
I think that the online interest in the content we journalists produce is indicative of that. We just haven't figured out how to cover the 20 or 30% margin of profit that traditional ways of delivering that news used to represent.
Well,
The community media workshop came into existence in part because even with those 2, 3, 4, 5 newspapers, some communities weren't being covered at all, and other communities were not being covered well. And so I think that the onset of online journalism will improve our craft. We still have to figure out how to pay our rent as we conduct our craft, but when the Founding Fathers gave us the constitutional protection of the First Amendment, it was not a guarantee of profit.
No.
In fact, most of them were producing pamphlets that were trying to get ideas and reporting out. It wasn't necessarily to fill their pockets. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be earning what we deserve to earn. I think there's a great future for journalism. I think we are in a transition about how we're going to deliver it most efficiently to a broader and hungry audience that clearly, whatever their age is, wants our content.
Andrew Huff?
My overhead for Gaper's Block is about $100 a month. It's just to make sure that the site has a server. That is it. Anything above that is profit, and I can use that profit however I'd like. I will acknowledge that it is not very large at this point because we have one person selling ads. If I had a Tribune ad department selling all those ads, I probably would be right up there with the Tribune in terms of size because I could pay all of those writers that are writing for me that are currently doing it out of the love of the city and the love of journalism. If I really think that we need to ignore the medium. We don't need to worry about whether newspapers survive as paper. I think we need to worry about whether they survive as media outlets.
All right, now you're getting down to it. And here's where I think we need to start pulling out the pad and paper here and trying to figure this out. How much would it cost to set up a newsroom on the order of perhaps, let's say, the current Sun-Times newsroom? What are the big newsrooms in Chicago? BBM, AM, I guess?
2 to 4 million.
2 to 4 million?
2 to 4 million.
You're crazy. No way.
No way.
No, he's exactly right. I mean,
what would you get for 2 to 4 million?
I mean, this is basically our budget 3 years from now.
You want to get bigger and bigger.
He's exactly right. I mean, and if you think about, I think a lot of people in this room probably started at smaller papers, and a lot of people on the panel too. I don't know how many folks the paper in West Virginia had there, but I started at a paper in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, and we had like 8 reporters, and we did a pretty decent job of covering that region of Pennsylvania. We didn't have anybody at the White House. We didn't have anybody in London. We didn't have anybody at the State House. We weren't doing movie reviews and we weren't doing recipes, but we covered the hell out of that town and that county, and I believe that we had 8 or 9 full-time reporters.
But I think I'm asking, Tom.
The reason you can do it in Chicago for 2 to 4 million is that our online newspaper, and I mean our, doesn't need to sell furniture or apartments because Craigslist is doing that. It doesn't need to do movie reviews or TV listings because Time Out and The Reader are doing that. There are a lot of other people now online covering some of the stuff the Metropolitan paper did. In terms of enterprise journalism that keeps the powers that be in check, we can do that for 2 to 4 million a year.